4 o'clock in the morning at this point, you know. And he's already been waiting like an hour, and I'm just like fucked up at the top of the stairs. Ugh. And then this girl comes down, and she's from Britain, dude. She's from English, and she's blonde. She's got the titties, and I don't have, I don't know what her name was, unfortunately. And that's not to like to make her feel bad, But I just, I don't think she remembers my name either. But, anyways, I was able to pick up what he couldn't hold out for. So, moral of the story is just wait. Wait around, guys. If you wait, just wait 5 more minutes. Listen, if you're ever around, you're waiting for a girl, and you're like, all right, I'm leaving, just give yourself 5 more minutes, all right? And this story will tell you why. Because 5 minutes after that guy left, she came downstairs, and I was there, dude. I picked up the pieces of the pussy, dude, with my dick. And so we went into the hostel shower, dude. Oh, my God. But the bathroom we went into, the toilet was clogged. And the moral of the story is I came inside her, and I don't know if she got pregnant, or she sent an email, because we did exchange emails, but I had like a traveler's email, it wasn't like my main one. And then I got blocked, and she said that she was pregnant, but then I don't know whatever happened to it. But I did the right thing. I did the Ancestry and the 23andMe. I put myself into the system. I didn't want to, but I thought, maybe one day this is all I can do. Because I got blocked, and I tried to email, and then eventually it was just all, I tried switching emails, from the blocked one and then it was just undeliverable. So I don't know whatever happened with that British blonde girl from Amsterdam, I wonder. But I did the right thing. So maybe one day. I don't know. It hasn't been 18 years yet. I don't think. Mid-20s? No. So, I mean, there's still... I could get like an email one day. Like, you have a hit on Ancestries. So I thought about that, Or at least I would have. Luckily, I didn't have to. That wasn't a bad one, though. But still... The last thing you want is like a dick that Helen Keller could blow, And by that I mean like have like a pimply dick, like a braille penis, like a blind person could navigate your dick, because you got that braille penis, and that sucks, dude. You don't want a penis that a blind person can read. That's just the bottom line. Because it doesn't look good, and I'm sure it's going to feel weird, and it's going to scare off any potential future, hookups that one might have. And so, yeah, so that was just like, the crazy, that would have been a few of the love stories that would have gone through my mind, the unprotected love stories, that is. I'm not counting the protected ones, but a lot of the times, but you gotta be careful, because if you start off having protected sex, you cannot take off the condom without permission from both parties, because that is actually a form of abuse. If you start intercourse with a condom and then, unbeknownst to the other person, remove that condom but continue the intercourse, then that's bad. That's I found that out recently. I've never done it, and I've had it before the condom ever even went on with the lesbian. That adult pressured me into unprotected sex. So, but yeah, I just found that out recently, that you can't just be like, oh fuck it, oh this, or now if it rips, that's like That's like a no. That's like a. I don't know. That's like a no-fly zone, or like a what do they call it? Infield home run. Like an accidental declaration. That's like a declaration of independence. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. Never mind. Anyways, but yeah. So love, man. Love's a weird thing, you know. This and like, yo, I'm smart enough to know too, because before this OF, all that craziness, the pandemic, people done lost their minds. But also, you know, more power to them, right? To each their own. That's the best thing about being people. You know, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, do whatever you want, right? That's my saying, at least. You know, as long as you don't fuck up anybody else's shit, then you just go off and do whatever you want. Anyways, so I'm smart enough to know, this is like the mid, this is like 2010s, something like that. You know, I had this job in South America. I was a translator, English to Spanish, but it was webcam nude chat. And so, like, the guys would come in, I'd be talking to them in English, telling the girls what to do in Spanish, And so I know the game, you know what I mean? But, dude, I fell in love with this OF girl. No, I not fall in love, shall I say. But you know what? And what it is loneliness, man. The pandemic made me lonely. But also, it was just like this weird, I think everyone felt it, the isolation, of course, but the paranoia, being scared. And then, you get this outlet of just like an onslaught of just like everyday girl titties, And it's just like everyone, and you hope that, you come across like a best friend, or, like everyone, like when the OF started happening, dude, and everyone started like going crazy with it, everyone was probably, oh, I hope I find my third grade teacher on here, or maybe like my cousin, Anybody ever find their cousin's OF before? Or maybe like their friend's sister, or maybe like the MILF on the block. You know what I mean? Because anyone, like, it got so popular, dude, that anyone you looked at could have been like, yeah, for $10 I could see her titties. Oh shit, hell yeah, where the titties at? Oh, that's a $10 titty. That's a $10 titty. You know what I mean? And then the men start like categorizing. The men start categorizing women, not as women, but in dollar signs. Like there's some girls that were walking around with shirts that says, $5 titties. And then in real life, it was like, I don't know. But anyways, sorry, I got excited there. But what were we talking about? Oh yeah, but love, yeah. So anyways, I went to the doctor, man. But yeah, no, all positive. I mean, all negative. It was a positive. It was all negative, which made it positive. So it was negative and positive, but negative in the good ways, which made it positive in the positive ways. But yeah, I didn't even know I was getting tested for STDs and HIVs. Man, I couldn't imagine. But if you want, email me at echoes and escapades fanmail@gmail.com. If you've ever had like the 7-day, maybe 14-day waiting period, what went through your mind? I'd like to know. I'll touch base on this, maybe this topic, if I get some emails back on another day. You never know. But yeah, love, man, that was crazy. Traveling, that's another crazy thing too. But there's an etiquette to traveling, man. I like to do solo traveling myself, personally. Because then you get to make your own rules, your own schedule, you can do your own shit, and it forces you to meet other people. You know what I mean? Like, dude, the best times I've ever had in my life are when I was by myself, I couldn't imagine. Like, maybe because I really haven't had that many girlfriends, I've never traveled with a significant other anywhere. I've met plenty of couples along the way, and seen the good and the bad, from it. Guaranteed sex, that's good, but I don't know, what else? There's got to be more good than that, right? But see, I'm speaking from my point of view as being ignorant to that industry, or that dynamic. You know what I mean? I don't really know anything about that too much, so I can't really speak on that. So I'm gonna move it along. I wish more people would do that. Like if you don't know something, it's okay to say your opinion, but you could preface it with it, or what's the opposite of preface? Eulogy. You can eulogize it, by saying it after. Just be like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Either in the beginning or the end of whatever you might say, or in the middle too, if you want. It's up to you. So, but that's another thing, man. Is just like knowing when to say shit or not. Anyways, enough about that. Alright, so we talked about love. We talked about going to the doctor, getting surprise tests, which yeah, it was all good, thank God. But oh my goodness. But I was thinking about, but also, so yeah, I was just thinking about love. But people can fall in love with people, right? But then they can also fall in love with like weird shit, Well, I don't know if it's weird shit, but like they can fall in love with inanimate objects, So it's like people who fall in love with inanimate objects, they experience a phenomenon called objectophilia, or OS for short, as it's known on the streets. This is when a person forms deep emotional, romantic, or even sexual attachments to objects rather than people. And the reasons behind this can vary, depending on who you are. Psychological and neurological factors. Some researchers suggest that objectophilia, or OS, may be linked to neurodivergent conditions like the autism, where individuals form strong attachments to specific objects. Huh. I wonder if that's like, I don't remember breastfeeding, but I've seen babies breastfeed. Not like weirdly, and it's never on purpose, but like it's accidental, or like in public titty milk, feeding time, breastfeeding. It's natural. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so no, the kid gravitates to the teat, and we're not even taught that. It's just something like when sea turtles go back into the ocean, So there's an emotional connection that some people see objects as stable, safe, and unchanging, which can be comforting in a way that human relationships are not. And that's where the birth of AI really is. Did you know that back in the day, like the 80s, there was two forms of mediums for like movies? It was like Betamax and VHS, right? And they ended up going with VHS. And the only reason they went with VHS is because the porno industry chose VHS. Now, I'd like to see a movie about that. Why VHS blew up is because titty fucking and dick sucklage. It's like Peter Dinklage, but with dick, like dinker sucklage. Anyways, so I don't know what the point. Oh yeah, so so people find that porn. You watch the same porno. I remember I had like the same porno VHS tape. I still have it. Ever since I was a child. And nowadays, I don't even have to watch it, I can just touch it, just caress the VHS case, and then that brings me back to my early orgasms.